Complete Control Radio with Joe Sib.
Complete Control Radio, Joe Sib here hanging out with you in the studio. Great friend of mine, and a band that he's been in, two bands that he's been in that just basically changed my life. I've got Greg Hetson here, original guitar player in the Circle Jerks, later on going on to Bad Religion. You've been playing punk rock for so many years. Thank you so much for coming by and hanging out.
It's good to be back again.
You know,
seems just like
just
today.
yesterday. It almost like it happened a moment ago.
It did. Wow.
I got to say, one of the first tours I ever went on, I was in San Jose, California. I was singing for Frontline.
Right.
And the Circle Jerks took us on our first tour. And going out with you guys, I want to say it was Frontline, 7 Seconds, and the Circle Jerks. It was a short tour. It was like 5 days. But I remember you and the rest of the band were so cool to us. And over the years, you and I become friends. And so much history with the Circle Jerks. And for some of our listeners, a lot of young kids out there, we get tons of requests for the Circle Jerks, tons of requests for Black Flag,
Nice.
all the early stuff. So I wanted to touch on for a second, L.A., you were originally in Red Cross.
Right.
Can you maybe describe to our listeners what Red Cross was about, who some of the members were, and then maybe how you started the Circle Jerks?
Well, I was in high school. Let's go back to my high school, senior year of high school in Photoshop. And we used to be able to bring records in, and it was always a war between the disco kids and the people that listened to rock. One day I saw some kid in class, maybe a week or two in, and he had a Bags flyer on his notebook. And I go up to him and it's like, "You into punk rock?" And he kind of looked at me weird, like, "Yeah," like all scared, like I was going to do something, like me all 4'9" of me.
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah, I go, "Oh, me too." And we started talking it up and talking about punk rock. And it was Jeff McDonald, and we just decided to form a band. So we got his brother, Steve, who was 11 at the time. I think Jeff was a freshman in high school, and they had another friend in junior high that was a drummer, this guy, John Stilo. And we started practicing in Jeff and Steve's garage and started Red Cross. And then we bought the first Black Flag EP and noticed that the P.O. box was in Lawndale, which is a town right next to Hawthorne where we all grew up. And we tracked down we found out where they rehearsed in Hermosa and went and said, "Hey, we're in a band, we're young, can you help us?" Like all innocent and scared. And they're like, "Sure." So we actually got Black Flag to play Steve McDonald's junior high graduation party in a little suburban house in Hawthorne. And it was crazy.
And who at that point is singing for Black Flag?
Keith Morris.
So Keith's singing for Black Flag at that
it's
point.
the original lineup of Black Flag. And Keith's singing, and you can imagine the horror of these junior high kids not knowing what the hell. And you have, punk rock looking guys and girls coming along, friends of ours and the girlfriends of the band, and they're trying to sell the kids the Nervous Breakdown EP. It was quite a scene.
Oh man! So at what point does Red Cross, I guess, kind of change and fall, or you leave actually, and you hook up with your new singer Keith Morris and start the Circle Jerks? Did you guys have a conversation? Did you kind of, at that party, was that the connection between the two of you guys, or?
Well, we used to practice in the same room as Black Flag, and occasionally he would want to ditch practice and have me take him to Hollywood so he can, go see shows or so he can get beer or whatever. And he'd quit Black Flag maybe towards the end of '79, and right at the end of 1979, I had quit Red Cross. We were standing in front of a show in front of the whiskey, waiting in line, and I just told, he overheard me tell those guys in Red Cross that I quit. I didn't think they were serious enough, and literally he said, I can't say the word because I know the FUCC will be on our case. "F those guys, let's start our own band, man."
Yeah.
I know a bass player, and I'm like, "Well, I know a drummer," and that's how the band
Circle
started.
Jerks came
Yep.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Why did Keith leave Black Flag at that point?
I think he was feeling frustrated that they were using a lot of his lyrics that he thought were good. He had a bunch of lyrics stockpiled, and I had,
Are the lyrics that are stockpiled basically what became the first record, Group Sex?
first and second record. Yeah, I can go out on the street, some of that stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about those early years of the Circle Jerks. So at this point, you guys get together. You basically at one point hook up with Frontier Records.
Right.
You release the first record, Group Sex, to this day. I mean, what does that record come in at? 24 minutes?
16.
16?
Like 16 or 18 minutes.
Yeah.
And when we first put it out, we thought people would think they were getting gypped, so we added like 2 or 3 seconds on every track. So if you have an original pressing, the song times are wrong. They're longer than what they really are.
Geez, so it comes in at 16 minutes. That record,
Yeah.
too, from the beginning to the end, when you guys put that together, I mean, when you're making that record, how old are you at that point when you're making Group
19.
Sex? You're 19.
Yeah.
Did you know at that point that this would be a record that would go on to one of those classic punk rock records? Did you feel it when you were making, like, hey, this is something special that we're doing? Or did you just feel like, hey, I hope this band stays together longer than Red Cross?
I was pretty much, I hope this stays together. And we were, sneaking into studio time on the sly from a friend who was, trading pot for studio time, back punk rock days. And we just wanted to make a record. And we had no idea who was going to put it out. We just we're going to make a record and see who's going to put it out.
Yeah.
Kind of that's how it worked out. So we had no clue. We just wanted to book shows and go on tour.
One of the tracks I got to play off the record right now, and we have plenty of time for it because I think it clocks in at all of about 56 seconds, is Red Tape.
57, I believe.
57
I think
seconds.
that's the actual true time.
Yeah, and the drumming on this, I mean, these fills are ridiculous.
Yeah, Lucky was an insane drummer.
Lucky was one of the, I mean, to me, when I think of punk rock and a lot of the stuff that NoFX ended up doing, a lot of stuff that RKL did, all of that sound, I mean, they had to at least been inspired by Lucky.
Yeah, he was he was like the prototypical modern punk drummer, I think.
All right, I got
him and Chuck Biscuits. I think their styles were just crazy. Just Keith Moon times 50.
Times 50,
Yeah.
going at least 50 miles an
Exactly.
hour. Hey, hanging out right now, my good friend Greg Hetson. We're in here. We're talking about the Circle Jerks. We'll be talking about Black Flag, but right now, here's 57 seconds. Probably one of the fastest songs ever. This is the Circle Jerks with Red Tape on Complete Control Radio.
I can see, can't you see?